Hi, welcome to the newest of these organic devotions, a weekly series of reflections seeking a natural experience and expression of God's presence and purpose without all the artificial additives, growing out of life here on the farmstead, from the very earthiness of life. Thanks for hungering along with me. The approach of winter occasions any number of fresh pursuits. Planning for next year's garden is certainly among them. Looking ahead, but also looking back with an assessing eye for what seeds grew well and which simply didn't materialize, which systems aided the growth process and which simply took extra time and effort. But if looking backwards and forwards are the more obvious endeavors, I want to suggest that looking around might be the most important. We can pay so much attention, after all, to the nuts and bolts that we lose all perspective. We can gain great knowledge at the expense of real wisdom. As this growing season gets packed away for the winter, here then are a few of the larger lessons the garden has taught me this year. Soil is far more than a scaffold to hold up a plant. With millions of life forms in a mere teaspoon of it, it's a vast and wonderfully complex community of nutrients and organisms and interactions invisible to the naked eye that we will never completely comprehend, and we oversimplify it or underestimate it at our peril. Growth is as ineffable as it is scientific, is as much mystery as trackable process. We can select good seeds, nourish the soil, water as needed, and protect from predation, but ultimately any harvest is beyond our control. Even Jesus noted that gardeners do what they do, but we don't finally know how the seed grows, which means there's little room for agricultural arrogance. All of which is to say, the garden is not about me. I stand on the far and outer fringes of a miracle in which I play a tiny part, along with bees and butterflies, fungi and worms, sun and moon and breezes and jet streams and micronutrients and celestial and earthly partners that I can scarcely even imagine. Not at all unlike the rest of our living. We might delude ourselves with our self-importance, but we are not the center of this universe. We are but one occasionally bright, occasionally hardworking, occasionally constructive part of a vast and amazing community in which we are occasionally honest enough to admit the truth that we need each other, despite how easy it is to dismiss one another. And if we are dependent on one another, we are yet more dependent on something larger still. This week is the climactic week of the Christian calendar. What began with Advent's season of expectation and anticipation and continued on through celebrations of birthing and teaching, resurrection, and the empowerment of God's own Spirit, now reaches its final confession that the highest authority in our life is neither our own conscience nor our personal appetite, is no one that we might elect, and is not ours or any nation's constitution, but is Jesus Christ our Lord. The writer to the Colossians summed it up this way: in Him all things were created, and in Him all things hold together. And with that affirmation, with the garden put to bed and winter approaching, these organic devotions come to an end, at least for now. Thank you for following along with me these many weeks. Thanks for communicating and for growing alongside of me. Our time together has been fruitful and nourishing indeed. Until we see each other again then, bye-bye.